Hey, it's Richard here. Today I'm going to share with you a few tips when it comes to data security and working with your VA. When you're working with a virtual assistant, data security is a big problem because often if you're a small business, they're representing you, they're representing your brand, right? And you're putting your brand at risk because you're hiring someone else to speak on your behalf sometimes, And you never know, right? Especially in the online world where they are and what they could be doing with that information. So it's scary, I get it. And so it's very important to make sure you put in the right measures to protect yourself and your brand. When it comes to working with people, right, whether they're in the office or remotely, I think the risks are still going to be the same, because ultimately your business is going to be online. They're going to represent your accounts. And so it's important to, make sure you secure that data in the right way. So whether online, offline, it doesn't matter, the same principles apply. And you got to think about these risks here, right? What you want to do is you want to create accountability. You want to know who's making the changes, when they're making the changes. So you want to make sure that you have some tools available like that. So example, Google Suite. If you're using collaboration tools, Google Suite, Dropbox, Microsoft, right? They should have a log of the changes that are made to any files, or if the files are deleted. And it's important to make sure by creating accountability, you don't let them share your account. You create another Google account, you create another email address, right? You create another login for them so that if you've made the changes or if they've made the changes. The accountability is number one, right? You want to know what they're doing on that end, and you got to figure out how to get that log out. Number two, you want to think about restricting access levels, yeah? So it's like, you wouldn't hire someone and then give them access to your bank accounts. No, never, right? You might not even give it to your spouse. It's important to restrict access. And so, you gotta understand the apps they need access to. You want to put it into different gates. So it's like, question one is like, do they need access to this app to do their job? Yeah, like you wouldn't give a zero, right, access of the accounting software to a social media person. Why would they need to go into your accounting books, right? No, so restrict what they need and then go in deep on, okay, let's say they do need access to my Facebook. Do they need admin access? Do they really need that page access at that level, or is there other levels to go down? It depends on the tool, of course, but you gotta get familiar with it and ask questions and look into each tool to figure out what they can do. Maybe they only need reporting access because they're not posting, yeah, or they're not replying on your behalf, so they just need reporting access. So restrict access levels where you can within the app. If you're just starting out and you're hiring your first virtual person and you need to share stuff, what I would recommend is you use a password tool, right? Password manager. So LastPass. Recently I moved over to Bitwarden because LastPass has been under attack a fair bit. So check that stuff out. Put it in, but also change your passwords, make them secure, right? If you're just using, like your first name, last name, and a few numbers afterwards, start using randomly generated passwords that these password tools assist with, right? So you can share the passwords out there to your team where you can mask the password so they don't know what it is, but it just auto-populates on their browser over there. So some people will probably start combining their password into like some complicated stuff, having their kid's name, their dog's name, the parts of their address in there, and then they think, I just have that one password, shouldn't that be fine? Yes, in most cases it's probably strong enough, but if you're using that password across 10 sites, 20 sites, 30, 50 sites, do you think all those sites may not get hacked, right? And do you think they are all securing your data correctly? And so if all a hacker needs, right, to get in is one of those websites gets compromised, your data gets leaked out, there goes your email, yeah? And then your password comes out too. And all they have to do is just try that combination on the most important sites. Where they want to go on, like banking websites. They want to go on PayPal, right? They want to go TransferWise and all of that. Take your money on that end. And so that's why you want to have random passwords for pretty much every site. So if that site gets attacked and then your data gets released, right? Then all you need to do is just go in and update that login with new password, while all your other sites are secured because they have different passwords on that end. So it's very unlikely you're going to have 100 passwords in your head and remember every single one of them. You could by having changing the number on each one, but how will you know which one is number 72, which one is number 85, right? So that's why it's important to make sure you have password manager that can help manage all of that on that end. A lot of people ask me, like, should we be doing like an intranet? Should we do VPNs? Should we do virtual networks and stuff like that? Like, look, I'm not the biggest IT security person here, but for most small businesses, yeah, if you're running most of your applications through the cloud services, yeah, and you don't have to create your own little network for your own office on that end. Most of the times you don't need something like that, right? A VPN doesn't always guarantee secureness as well on that end there. And so you don't have to go ahead and go down the full security route, but it depends on your work. Like if you're in finance and stuff like that, whatever tool you're using should have clear securities in there, and you want to put in the right processes on there, so you don't have to create like a virtual machine so then your VA logs into that machine then uses that machine to go do work. If you need that type of level of security, I'd suggest talking to an IT security expert with what you're planning to do, so that you can get yourself set up in the right way. On top of having the password manager there and using making sure you do at least 12 characters, different symbols, capital letters and stuff like that, other things I probably recommend is on the apps that you can turn on two-factor authentication. Yeah, whether you're using Google Authenticator or it's checking by OTP, one-time password through SMS or email, turn that on, okay? For those key apps, right? You don't have to turn on every app, right? I'd say turn on for the key apps. So like Stripe, Xero, your email, that type of stuff, your socials as well, okay? So two-factor authentication, turn it on, not just for yourself, but also your team. Okay, so force it onto the app. So one of the things we've been doing as well is with any businesses that are running on Google Suite and you're using Team Drive, yeah, recently one of the things we realized was, you don't want to give access to just one drive and then have everything in the one drive, especially as your team gets bigger. What you want to do is create multiple drives, and it doesn't cost you extra. So for us, we create like a public drive, which means every team member gets access to that. We also create like a strategy drive, a finance drive, so that then only select people get access to those drives. And that's to split the information to those that really need to know it. Because especially with Google and any cloud storage based solution, is you can just share a link, and you never know, your team could get that link and then make it public and share it to other people, and you want to restrict that as much as you can, especially on the sensitive data. So really have a think about, if it's just you're hiring your first VA, it's nice to just start storing some stuff into another drive that your VA doesn't need to go see, right? Whether that's your financials, whether that is some sort of like key reporting, right, for regulatory reasons or whatever else. You just want to secure those key informations in another area, so that it's not as great as we want to make everything transparent, it's still within means, right? Within specific reason that we have to control certain access on that end. I hope this was helpful in terms of data security when you're working with your VA. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us here at Outsourcing Edge. This is what we do, So if you have questions about it, we help grab some time with whether it's me or someone in the team to work through how to set up your business online, right, in the digital ecosystem in a way that secures it well and not cost a bomb for you either. Feel free to reach out to me or the team. More than happy to help you, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.